Whether you have an employment, criminal, family, corporate, or personal injury matter, legal issues can be puzzling. The lawyers at Devry, Smith & Frank make all the pieces fit together.
Welcome back to Real Estate 101, where today we're going to talk about title insurance, and I'm pleased to be joined by Robert Adorian of Devry, Smith & Frank LLP. Robert, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Robert, I want to talk today a little bit about title insurance, and I want to ask you, what is it?
Title insurance is an insurance product designed to give homeowners peace of mind, so they don't have to worry about anything unexpected going forward after they've purchased a property.
Okay, so do all homeowners in Ontario carry title insurance?
No, Joe. Title insurance was introduced into Ontario in the late 1990s and became the industry standard in the early 2000s. So if you bought a home after that, in all likelihood, you do have a policy. But for the people who have owned homes for many, many years, they do not, because it simply wasn't available then.
Right. Okay. So I guess the premise that most people don't understand is that title insurance is there to protect you from many things, but I guess specifically would be title fraud. That happens a lot. So what is title fraud?
Title fraud is basically identity theft. It's where someone steals your identity, and instead of doing what we often hear about, running up debts on your visa or running up tickets on your driver's license, instead they do transactions that are unauthorized by you on the title to your property. Okay,
Robert, so why don't you give us an example of some typical claims that are made when you have a title insurance policy?
Typically, it could be unpaid realty taxes or utilities. It could be a deck or some other improvement to the house that was built without a permit. Or it could be something more substantial like title fraud.
Okay, now what is title fraud?
Title fraud is basically identity theft, where someone impersonates you and does a transaction with your property that you have not authorized.
Okay. Can you give our viewers and our listeners an example of title fraud and how it happens?
Certainly. Someone assumes your identity, gets fake ID, and applies to a bank for a mortgage, and they put a mortgage on your house. They take the money and they disappear, and you're now stuck with this mortgage debt.
Okay. So what happens if, let's say one day I wake up and I find out there's a huge mortgage on my house that I didn't put there? What do I do?
You should immediately contact your lawyer and instruct them to make a claim under your title insurance policy. The onus is on you to establish that it wasn't you who took out that mortgage and that you did not get the benefit of the funds. If you can do that, there are court procedures available to reverse that mortgage transaction.
Okay, now let's say I do have to go to my lawyer to do that. Is this a cost that I have to absorb?
If you did not have title insurance, it is a cost that you would have to absorb. The title insurance policy gives you coverage for the cost of rectifying this improper mortgage, so they cover your legal costs and any other costs associated with making it right.
All right, so title insurance can be arranged when you buy a home. Let's say one of our viewers bought their property prior to 1997. How can they get title insurance?
There is a product which all the title insurers carry called existing owner coverage. So they will do a title search of your property, and if everything is in good order, they will insure you from that point forward, so that if anything untoward was to happen, some kind of mischief or fraud, you would be covered for that. And that is available to all homeowners.
Okay, Robert, so for today's final question, I want to ask you, does title insurance eliminate the need for a land survey?
No, Joe. The best solution when you're buying a property is to have an up-to-date survey. However, as a practical matter, when you're buying a home, you don't necessarily want to pay for it. The seller doesn't want to pay for it. And so the solution that the insurance companies have crafted is that they will provide coverage for any discrepancies in the property that would have been disclosed by an up-to-date survey. Therefore, you can proceed to complete the transaction without incurring that expense. And similarly, if you're simply refinancing your property, the title insurers offer that coverage to the mortgage company, and therefore the mortgage company will proceed with your refinancing transaction without requiring you to produce an up-to-date survey.
All right, Robert, good stuff. Thanks for coming on today's show.
Thank you very much for having me, Joe.
If anybody has any more questions or needs the help of a top real estate lawyer, they can get in contact with Robert Adorian of Devry Smith Frank LLP. I'm your host, Joe Trucera. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.